welcome back. Episode 10, The Brothers View. Thanks for joining us once again. Thanks for coming out again and doing this, man.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So today's like Groundhog's Day, February 2nd. So I wonder if we're going to have a long winter. Did you see what the groundhog did?
No, sorry. I was
You
too
missed
busy sleeping. I wasn't going to pay attention to what the groundhog was doing.
It's fucking cold. We live in Florida. It's fucking cold, bro.
You know, it's funny because we complain about it, but I think about this temperature in other places that I've lived, and we were out in shorts. Here, I'm freezing to death. Like, no, I can't take it.
Our skin's not thick enough anymore. Like, we used to be able to handle it, but nah.
Yeah, it's sad to say 50 degrees is too cold for us, but it is.
I have a
cold.
client in Connecticut, and I was just saying it's freezing. It's 37 degrees. Yesterday, I think it was 37 degrees. She's like, what? We've been in the 20s for the past week. We're happy we're in the 30s now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's just hilarious. Anyway. Did you watch Echo?
The new Marvel show.
Yeah. It's like
Not
2 weeks.
yet. I've read a lot about it. I'm dying to watch it. I haven't had time.
So, I wanted to like it.
You didn't
Okay.
like it?
It's hard. It's a big cross. Okay. You know the character is
course.
deaf.
Right.
Okay. So they try to give you her perspective, and she's in, I mean, first of all, criminal underworld, right? I don't want to ruin it for you, but it kind of shows her ascension and how she became to where she got to. And they try to give you her perspective. Awesome, right? Not only is she female, Native American, what have you. Parent got murdered in the previous
Story, right?
yeah, I think that was a Hawkeye story where she
Yes.
gets introduced, right? But then, and I commend them for their effort. They want to truly give you what she's going through, and there's bouts in the episode of total silence. And movies better than me, Scream better than me. Sound is one of the biggest freaking things. Like every scary movie. It's not the act of the killer showing up. It's the music, that gets you scared, right? There's times where Stacy's watching it and she goes like this. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, no, the sound, but she's watching. And I'm just like, most people would do this. She's doing this because this is what scares her. But anyway, point is they took away that aspect of it, the sound. And it was a hard sell, man. And like, I got it, but I kind of think they did it for too long. You know what I mean? And I see what they were trying to do. But I mean, like without you watching it, I think it's kind of hard. But like you know what I mean, right? When you
I do know what you mean, and that's a challenge. And again, I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to how well they did it. I've seen that technique done effectively,
right? But
usually,
for how long? For how long?
Usually for short periods of time. Okay, but there have been plenty of movies that made a statement by silence. There's a movie called There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Dude, the first 20 minutes of that movie has no music and no dialogue. The only sound that you hear is these guys working on this oil rig. Oil drill, really. I'm going to call it rig is a little bit of too much for that time period for what they were trying to show us. And I remember feeling so uncomfortable watching this movie because I'm like, what am I watching? It felt like I was watching some...
What's that silent movie guy? Chaplin? Like a Chaplin flick?
No, this was worse. This was like watching security footage.
Oh, we got Chaplin back there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to...
It felt like you were watching security footage of a bunch of guys working. I mean, how is this a movie? Mm-hmm. And it was a statement. And that movie had its own strengths and weaknesses, but it was done intentionally.
Yeah.
So this can be done. I can see it being done as for the perspective of understanding this character who obviously can't hear.
Yeah. They did some cool stuff with it. Don't want to ruin it for you, but they did some cool stuff with it. He's not in it, but they did some Tony Stark type shit in it where she was able to communicate, which was cool. And I was like, oh, okay, finally, you know what? I appreciate her. We're going to do this. But then it goes away. And you're like, oh, bro, this is tough, And it's a lot of reading. And, they tried. And, I can only commend them. There's so many times directors, they do cutting edge shit, And sometimes we're like, wow, that's awesome. Like I think about, what's his name? Is it Robert Rodriguez? Who did some crazy stuff.
Yes, Robert Rodriguez.
The Mission Impossible director, John Woo.
John Woo.
Right? They really revolutionized
Mission
shit.
Impossible 2.
2? Okay. They really revolutionized some shit. But then like this, whoever did this, and I don't know if it was the same director, and maybe it was just the Disney agenda. I love the attempt, but to me it kind of fell flat, and it kind of took away from it. That was just me. I mean, I have no idea. The reviews are mixed, of course. Anything Disney does right now is mixed. If Disney farts right now, you're going to get mixed fucking reviews. Some are going to say it stinks. Some are going to say, oh, it's a Mickey fart. It doesn't count. I don't know. But the whole point is just like Disney's kind of, you can't trust the reviews. I think you got to watch it yourself. And I would really value your feedback because you got that whole cinematography, fucking background shit that I don't even know. I like the movie or I don't. But yeah, man, it was pretty.
It's exciting, and I'm definitely going to watch the shows, but it's exciting to see how Disney's still moving forward with these lesser known characters of the Marvel universe. Okay, there's a lot of excitement about the fact that Daredevil was brought back in, that the Kingpin was going to got brought back in. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of excitement about the fact that many of the Netflix characters are going to get brought into.
They're going to bring back Luke Cage.
That is.
That's
the rumor mill,
bro.
And my girl Jessica Drew
Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
they're supposed to bring her back.
Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. Jessica Jones, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that happening.
Yeah. So I read her.
There's a lot of excitement and a lot of buzz. I think with Echo they tried to do a lot of firsts. Okay, you have your first quote unquote person with a disability being done as a main character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, literally centering on that concept of it. It was the first R-rated show that they did. They've made a big, statement about that. The point is that it's a little bit of exciting because they're trying to break out of the formula. They're trying to think a little bit out of the box, present us with a little bit different, not follow the standard formula that TV shows do and that Marvel's basically been following. So unfortunately, that means we're not going to hit the mark every time. But it's still exciting to see those attempts.
Well, I also think, and I think we talked about this earlier, the audience is getting older, right? So the audience that saw the Avengers, I mean, we talked about this. I can't believe the Avengers was like 15 years ago or some shit, right? So that audience is getting older. They don't want to see the same, eat your vegetables and arrest the bad guys, but they want to see like some of these, really complex situations, in real life situations happening. So I think they're doing a good job changing. The only thing is I'm like, dude, when you're given the script, you're given the lore, you're giving years of comics to follow, they fuck it up. Now you're going off script and kind of like creating your own character and developing that character. I think their margin of error just increased that much more. You know what I mean? You're given the comic book, follow it, and they still manage to screw it up in some rights, right? But now you're going off script, creating your own character, trying to touch on, I don't want to use the W word, trying to touch on, I need a good word to replace it. Trying to touch on, because I can't call it pop culture. Maybe we can call it pop culture. Trying to touch on pop culture, what's important to them and what have you. But I don't know. When you're given the storyline and you're trying to mold it, you messed it up. Now you're going to try and go out on your own creatively.
So I'm going to throw...
Yeah. And I hope it doesn't. I want them to succeed.
Right. And I'm going to throw them a little bit of a lifeline here. And I was thinking about this recently. Comics have changed. Okay, so the comic books that you and I were reading...
A lot more revealing.
Well, among other things. But a lot of the things that we associate with comic book characters when we were growing up, because we were reading these books, have altered. Yep. Scott Summers of the X-Men is not the person you and I read about. Yep. It's a completely different character. Okay. Yep. Wonder Woman has been reinvented.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So you have a lot of these things that are like, okay, so you and I have an image of what the X-Men look like. We have this image of what Tony Stark is supposed to look like. Those films have to somehow bridge that gap between what the modern reader is reading, okay, comic book fan, because obviously they want to sell more comic books and keep that younger audience coming through, and then somehow reach out to the old school fans who may not be reading the comic books today. Yeah. And we're still clinging to the old idea of what this was. The comic book universe is kind of altered in that way. And I think they have a difficult challenge because the problem with having this backlog of lore, as you said, saying the script has already been written for you, it actually kind of really ties their hands because they have to somehow tell the story in a contemporary event. But the reality of it is you can't stick to exactly how it happened in the comic books because you can't follow all the series of events. There's too many events. You can't sit there and go and tell all these backstories to explain how this character got to this point. You would need
Yeah, yeah.
an army
Especially-
of movies. You know, it just doesn't work. People want to see these characters. They want to see certain, you know, they want to see the diversity. They want to see the newer characters. They want to see their favorites. There's just too much going on. So somebody has to take and what we feel the original Marvel movies did was kept the spirit of the original story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay. They have to move away from it to a certain degree. Like, how far can you take it to make it work and still be the story?
I wonder why they haven't created new characters. Like, not Echo's a side character, really. Like, you know, I guess you're trying to create a new character, but like, how come you haven't created like a new character? I kind of feel like, I mean, maybe there is. I mean, first of all, are we allowed to call them comic books anymore? Are they graphic novels? I mean, is that a thing? Because to me, they're gonna be comics for freaking forever. I know people say, "Oh, it's not comics or graphic novels." I'm like,
Well,
comic.
there's both. There's used
Okay.
to have comic books and
Used to have
a comic.
comic books, right?
I mean, if you're putting out a periodical
Uh-huh.
that moves a story along,
That's a
that's a
comic
comic
book.
book. Okay.
All right.
Now you can do a side story that could be a very involved, large book. We want to call a graphic novel,
Okay.
right? So
Just
it's
want to make
still-
sure. Don't want to piss off my comic book friends.
It's a blurred line, you know, because then people want to say, well, then we start talking about manga, which is an entirely different thing. But there's a lot of similarities between the two. Mangas function totally differently than comic books. They are more like what we consider graphic novels, but it's in a completely different format because it's a different culture. We get these weird translations.
Yeah.
It's hard to, you have to separate all the two, but they're a very similar media.
Yeah. Did you see the remake is coming out of for Roadhouse?
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with that.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a monster. How are you? What are you disappointed about? Because Jake Gyllenhaal, if you saw Southpaw and
This
how he
was
can
supposed to be with Ronda Rousey.
to do what?
The Roadhouse remake was supposed to be Ronda Rousey. They were talking about this for years, and
Do
then
what? She was gonna be the main character.
they were going to change it to a female character, and that was supposed to be the whole thing.
Call my girl from Mandalorian.
Gina Carano?
She can act, okay, and I'm not saying she's a great actress, right? She's never gonna get a Grammy or Emmy or whatever the hell they call the Oscar, okay? But you put Ronda Rousey there, nah, bro, that's a flop.
They were talking about this for ages. That it
Nah.
was supposed to be her, and then all of a sudden, the silence died down, and the next thing I know, Jake Gyllenhaal's doing the movie.
So
I'm
you're
like,
disappointed Ronda didn't get casted?
dude, it's like the transition was just so hard. I was waiting for this movie.
Okay, so
Not that I'm a fan of Ronda Rousey.
you're geared
I-
up for a Ronda movie. Now there's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie. You're like,
Dude, you made so much noise about the fact that they were going to make this movie with her. Okay, and then not only did the noise die down, but this movie's done and in the can. Jake Gyllenhaal's coming out with this movie.
yeah. I think she pissed off some Hollywood people, probably.
Everybody's
You know,
pissed off about everything.
She,
so.
I don't know if you saw what happened with Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon's allegedly something happened with a staffer. I think she worked for WWE, and apparently there's inappropriate behavior going on to the point where I think it was her and multiple execs, and she was being shared. And
We're talking about Ronda Rousey.
no, not Ronda. You crazy?
This other exec-
Ronda would break up. She would armbar all of them, bro. She will armbar all of them.
asking.
She's the only one who really knows how to. Anyway,
We're talking about a different
okay,
a staffer.
Okay, Ronda said something about this situation.
Okay, now
So,
and
the reason why I mentioned that is she's not scared to speak her mind.
of course.
So the situation was there was this staffer who, I'm surprised you didn't hear about this. She was a staffer who had let's call it an inappropriate sexual relationship of sorts with Vince, and other execs in the company, high level guys. And she was told that she'll be rewarded for her troubles. All right. Trying to keep it as generic and PG as possible, even though it's not a fucking PG show. But I'm trying to be respectful for this woman's plight. So allegedly she was going to get paid the sum of, I want to say $3 million. If I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong, but it was about $3 million for just keep your mouth shut, do it, and just go along with it. And after it was all said and done, I think she only got paid $1 million. So she's fucking pissed. She's like, that's not what we agreed on, this and that. I want my money. So allegedly, and I've seen some of the text screenshots. I don't know who they're from, but allegedly her and Vince were texting back and forth, and he very graphically berated her, both like verbal abuse, you're a worthless piece of trash type thing, both verbal abuse from a sexual, like, you deserve this to happen to you, and wait till I see you, I'm gonna do that. And when I'm done, I'm gonna call these people so they can also do that. Like, it's pretty bad. I'm like, dude, how are you gonna text this shit? How stupid are you? If it's true, right? But anyway, well, how stupid are you and disgusting are you to even go through that? But anyway, the whole point is he chose to step down as chairman. Once again, this is the second time stepping down. And Rhonda says he's just gonna continue to operate under, I can't remember the exec's name, who took over. Let's call him Bill. He's just going to continue to control Bill because Bill's just a puppet, and he's going to control the company because that's what he did last time he stepped down. Now, this chick makes a lot of money through WWE. A lot. Probably more than she ever did through UFC, which also WWE and UFC have merged under another parent company. I can't remember the name of the company right now. So the reason why I say all of this is if you're going through that shit that affects your paycheck directly and you're willing to open your mouth, I can only imagine the shit she said in Hollywood to piss people off. You know what I mean? I can see them presenting a script and saying, hey, asshole, this is a crappy script. Who came up with this? This is stupid. And then that exec was like Francis Ford Coppola's niece or some shit. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, dude, done. You know, ain't Hollywood power. So I don't know. I like her as a fighter. But as an actress or actor, whatever's, I think, no. I'm glad Jake Gyllenhaal's doing it.
Well, he's an actual actor, and I get that.
And he can throw a fucking punch. I think he's done that boxing movie, Southpaw, and I think he did a UFC movie, an MMA movie. I don't know if it was UFC, but I think he did an MMA movie as well. And he's in good shape. I mean, the guy's
I haven't seen the trailer. Obviously, we were fans of the original Roadhouse, but I kind of have to ask myself, and everybody has the same question. It's like, why are we rehashing the same stories? Okay, yeah. I'm trying to figure out what context you're going to present this story that's going to actually present me with anything different. Did the core audience really care about this concept?
In those action movies, I think they're so dated. You know, those 80s, there's an 80s movie, right? I think it was an 80s
Yeah,
movie.
it was an 80s movie.
Those 80s action flicks, I think they're so dated. I think the best nostalgia they did was Expendables. And that shit lasted as long as it could. Like, we're done. Like, we need to move on. Nobody cares. I shouldn't say nobody cares. People still care, but I don't think it's going to make money. You know, I'll watch it because it's Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's a badass. And we'll watch it because we're Roadhouse nostalgia. But how many people are like that?
I'm honestly, I'm going to watch it from the critical point of view. It's like, oh, who is this movie for? Because and we've had several remakes, and I'm just like, okay, why did we remake this movie? Like, I don't understand. If you were interested in the subject, you could have gone and watched the original.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like this was some sort of high tech. It's not like there's some sort of contemporary event that this, needs to relate to that we needed to do another movie. Yeah. I'll watch it, but that's going to be my first criticism or my first critical eye that I'm going to be looking at. It's like, what are you showing me that's any different here? That it was worth doing this movie again.
And the character that Patrick Swayze plays is such a badass. He's got big shoes to fill. Like, if they could have called it another name, like you said, Jake Gyllenhaal could have done what he wanted with it, right? But now I think because like Patrick Swayze was smooth, he knew how to fucking stitch himself up. He knew all kinds of martial arts, and he was kicking the shit out of everybody in that movie. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see. And then who was his mentor? What's his name? The old guy. I love that.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, man. Oh,
yeah, he was phenomenal in that movie. Yeah,
I like everything Sam Elliott does. That guy's awesome, bro. He was in what's the movie? Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah, he was in Ghost Rider.
Yeah, man. Sam Elliott can be Ghost Rider. He can be in Yellowstone as a freaking lawman. He can be in Roadhouse as a bouncer.
I mean, that guy's a phenomenal actor. I mean, he's almost to the point where I like to put Ricardo Montalban in this character where, like, this guy can sit there and read the phone book, and you'd be like, dude,
who's
this
Ricardo?
guy, the guy from Fantasy Island, Khan.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, guy's awesome. Yeah, he's got that voice. He's got presence.
You know what I mean? To me, Sam Elliott's got that ability. Like, he literally could read the phone book. You'd be like, yo, I need to listen to this guy. Like, he sounds that good. Like, he would make every name sound that, phenomenal. You'd
What
be
if
like,
he's got an Audible? I would listen to it, dude. Yeah.
This man could read the Bible in Audible, and I would sit there and listen. I would pay for it.
Hey, only James Earl Jones, man. I'm
telling you right now.
James Earl Jones. Oh my God. Maybe closer. All right, fantastic. Oh man. Well, quick little shift from entertainment. Well, no, it is entertainment. Anyway, I know you've been watching, right? The playoffs. You know, Super Bowl.
Trying to.
You're trying, right? Trying to keep up. Well, playoffs are over. Super Bowl's going in. The Cinderella story was the Detroit Lions, right? Never ever made it to the Super Bowl. Closest they've ever been, I think, is a NFC Championship game. Went to the NFC Championship. Dude, they dominated the half. They were up like 24-7. I mean, I thought the game was over. And all of a sudden, man, San Francisco just came back. Chipped away. Boom, won the game, right? Now, throughout the whole season, I would say throughout the last 3 months, I've been hearing how the NBA is rigged, NFL's rigged, sporting events are rigged. And I'm like, you know, okay, your team lost, you get mad, you say they're rigged, right? Whatever. But now, and more so now in football, maybe because it's the playoffs, right? It's postseason, it's leading up to the Super Bowl. It's probably more, these games matter a lot more than the regular season. I'm seeing more and more people saying, bro, the game's rigged, the NFL, and then they got all these theories of why it happened and how could a team be down by, 25 points, whatever the hell they were down, and then just lose. And then I'm just like, okay, I get how fans are mad. I get how whatever. But then I started thinking, is America becoming a society, right, where if we don't agree to the news, we just say, fuck it, it's fake. If we don't agree to the results, not even the news, right? Because I don't want to just focus on fake news. But if we don't agree with the results of something, we just immediately cry foul. It's rigged, whether it's an election, whether it's news, whether it's the results of a game or a fight or whatever, we immediately just say it's freaking rigged. And I'm like, the magnitude of what it takes to rig a football game. Now, we're not talking about point shaving. You know, we discussed a little point shaving or whatever. The magnitude it takes to throw a game, not a fight, because a fight is maybe one or two people involved. I don't see it that hard to throw a fight. But the magnitude it takes to throw an NFL game, I just kind of feel like it's freaking impossible. It could happen, but it's all going to come out within a couple of days. You know what I mean? There's too many people that you have to be in on the conspiracy to make it happen.
It's weird because there's like so many different levels to unpack on this. It's really hard.
Well, producers say we only got 10 minutes, so.
Yeah, you're gonna drop one.
Hey, shout out to Uncle Louie Productions. Got us our new Yeti Brothers View tumblers. Appreciate it. Yes. Episode 10. I had to bring these out.
The big thing that people need to understand: if your team is down at the half, the only reason why you came out of the locker room is because you came up with a plan. You came up with a belief that you could come back.
Yep.
Okay? Your general, your head coach, your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator came out, sat down with a plan, discussed it with the players. This is the game plan. These are the steps we need to do to make this comeback. Whether it be shutting down their offense, stepping up your own offense, there has to be a plan for you to come out. If you're able to execute that plan, you come out of the locker room and you play that second half.
Bill Belichick.
If it wasn't feasible, nobody would come out of the locker room. Game's over.
Yeah.
Okay? If you are a professional athlete, okay, and your sport matters to you, okay, and you're down by that much, you are coming out into the field and you're leaving it all on the field. Whatever it took, whatever your coach told you, however extra effort you had to do, you came out and you pushed it. Now, a lot of times, you do your best.
It doesn't work out.
Doesn't work out. But when it does work out, it's not necessarily a miracle. There was a plan. There was a strategy. You went out and pushed for it.
Yep.
The only time that I get annoyed with football, okay, because we go through the motions, is in the last 90 seconds of the game where we just start taking a knee to run out the clock, whatever, because they're like, okay, why are we doing this? Game's over. Stop it. Okay, but gameplay says that they have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be prepared for that. We don't need conspiracy theories. We don't need any sort of shady sort of behavior.
So let's be devil's advocate for the other side, right? Because I think you and I both agree these games aren't rigged.
No, I don't see.
Okay. Could you rig the game? And now, when I say rig a game, not point shaving, because point shaving is what gamblers do, right? Well, first of all, we said this, right? The money isn't on the win or loss, unless we're talking about a fight. And even then, right? The money really isn't on the win and the loss; it's on the spread. That's where the money is, on the spread or the total points, right? So, could you really rig a game to determine the outcome of this team is going to lose and this team is going to win? Do you think it's possible?
Is it possible to rig a game? Yes. Is it possible to keep such a rigging a secret? No way.
It's
Not
impossible.
possible.
Exactly.
The amount of people that would be involved, somebody would let something slip, somebody would brag, somebody would do something. There's no way you could contain a secret
Vegas
of that
will see a
magnitude.
huge jump
There's just,
in.
there's no way. The amount of people necessary in order to make this work, there's no way.
It's the only thing I admire about college ball, which I love college ball until we get down to the stupid committee that decides who gets to play. They officially rigged it. One team had an undefeated record, Florida State. Other team had one loss. By all standards, I feel that the best teams should play. They said, no, not enough people are going to watch the Florida State game, so they're out. Alabama's in. Because at the end of the day, the organization makes money off of, attendance, people viewing, and whatever.
Tennis did the same thing.
Who?
Tennis.
With what?
They took more popular players. I'm thinking all the way back to the days of Andre Agassi, okay, when he was very, very popular in the media, whole 9 yards, sex symbol, whatever, what have you. And they put him higher up in the rankings, even though he wasn't as seeded. He didn't have as much of a better record because it would mean more play time with him on the camera and more people were going to watch because he was the one, and I'm not up on as many of the contemporary tennis players now because I don't really follow tennis. But there's no question that if a player is of a certain popularity, that means more people are going to watch it. Okay. Then they shifted those rankings to make sure that he was there more on prime time. Or her. I mean,
whoever it is, whatever. No, at the end of the day, I'm cool. I'm not cool with that. I understand it's business. They're doing what they got to do. But I'm just so tired of people saying it's rigged. It's rigged. Even if this is probably the touchiest subject, even the election being freaking rigged. Do you know how difficult it is to rig an election, dude? And I mean, I don't care. You can't watch. What was this show I used to love with Kevin Spacey?
House of Cards.
House of Cards. Yeah, right. It's not that simple. It's, you just change the cards in the counting machine. Bullshit. Okay, bullshit. It's not that simple. All right. Anyway, whole point is, I just feel like America is kind of getting into, I don't agree, it's bullshit. It's rigged. It's not real. It didn't happen. And I just feel like, we gotta, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I just feel like, are we turning into children? We close our eyes. You can't see me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's happening here? I don't know. It's just something I was watching and I was just like really annoyed with the whole thing. I'm just like, come on, guys. We gotta, just because it doesn't go your way, you can't cry foul. Sometimes you gotta suck it up.
You have to take ownership of the events that are happening.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I can't believe how many people we've gotten some feedback, and we're gonna talk about this in the next episode. We've gotten some feedback, some responses, but I can't believe how many people that I know have told me they love our ending segment, Pussy versus Patriot.
Yes. Yeah.
So I kind of feel that pretty interesting. I didn't know how that was going to go. I was even thinking, do we have to change it to maybe like Wimp or Wuss versus Patriot? But we're sticking to our guns, Pussy versus Patriot. Everyone's giving me nothing but high fives. But I guess we'll roll with Vince. Yeah, let's roll with Vince. Vince McMahon. And that guy is an icon. All right. But let's roll with Vince McMahon. It's tough, right? But Pussy versus Patriot.
That's a very difficult thing. I'm going to go with Pussy because I feel like a lot of the stuff that he does is a little bit underhanded. There's a lot of things that, could be done at the openness, but it's really hard because, dude, this guy's a shrewd businessman. He's managed to keep his business running despite controversy, despite negativity. And
running
business,
and relevant.
yes,
Yeah.
You know, from a business person, I mean, the WWE is a phenomenal icon. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard.
Household name. I'm gonna call him a patriot. I believe innocent until proven guilty. So all this shit that's going down, I'm gonna not pass judgment until it's had its process. But for everything else that we've said and done, well, what we said, shrewd businessman, keeping his business relevant, revolutionizing the industry, gobbling up and destroying his competitors.
No, fair enough.
That merger with UFC and what have you, I mean, dog, that guy's just a G. I got to give him patriot. How about, no, this is not a person. This is kind of like maybe the idea or the event. How about what Disney did with the Echo movie? Like as I described it, you know what I mean?
Definitely patriot.
Yeah. I
That's
think
the way we have to push it.
Yeah.
It's really trying to. I love the idea that we're trying to push the envelope, trying to go in a different direction. It's hard to, you know, when these things don't work out the way that we want them to, but the effort has to be like commended.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
I
to
have
think
to
that.
go
Yeah.
with
At least you tried, right? You went against
Yeah.
And our last one, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's a patriot.
Yeah, I can never call her a pussy.
No, no,
She'll
no.
break my arm.
No,
She'll fucking break my arm.
no, she's being herself.
Yeah.
Genuine. Okay. And I value that more than anything else. You are being yourself. You're not going to sit there and kowtow to whatever it is going to happen with your paycheck or what's going to happen with social media or
Yeah.
people attacking you, whatever. She has her opinions. She sticks to them, even if I think there's some weird opinions sometimes, but they're hers and she sticks to them.
Yep. No, actually, she wrote a book. She had just she had been champ. I think it was before she lost, as a matter of fact, to Holly Holm. But anyway, she did a book, and I got that book, and I sent it to my eldest daughter, Elisa. And I said, this chick's a winner, dude. She used to sleep in her car, you know, did what she had to do, scraping by. She was probably getting paid a couple $100 a fight. Dana White said, we'll never have a female champion or something like that. Fast forward, her and Dana were really tight, you know. I think even Dana White said something about he was hurt or whatever when she left, or not hurt, but sad, you know. He really
Yeah.
wanted her to stay, but she was pretty awesome. I like Ronda. I've always liked her, man. All right, guys, that is episode 10, Brothers View. Thanks for watching and listening, and looking forward to seeing you guys next time.